Good morning, family. Welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Sunday, November 30th, 2008, and today we're reading Exodus chapter 12, and as always, I really encourage you to read the entire chapter through for yourself, because this particular chapter really has a lot of different things in there, and I'm only going to be able to touch on a couple of things in this Lessons for Life. But like I said, it's Exodus chapter 12, and we actually see as you read through the entire chapter that the children of Israel, by the end of the chapter, they are finally freed from the land of Egypt, and they're actually they've come out of the land of Egypt, or they're coming out of the land of Egypt, as we see in this chapter. But much of this chapter is actually talked about the Lord really preparing them for what's called the Passover, where He's telling them specific instructions that they need to follow, and even the feast that they have, and certain foods that they're supposed to eat and not eat. But the Passover is really so that when the Lord comes to visit Egypt with this final plague, as we remember from the previous chapter, that He will pass over their homes and the plague will not affect them at all, as long as they follow these specific instructions. So what I find really interesting and kind of funny is, as I've been doing these Lessons for Life, the things have been coming up right at opportune times, even for myself personally, to get a particular lesson for myself. So I trust that as you're watching this, and whatever time, whatever year you may be watching this, that it also has some significant meaning to you for that particular day as you're watching it as well too. But right now, as we're even in our holiday season in this year 2008, we just finished Thanksgiving, and we're of course looking to Christmas. But right between Thanksgiving and Christmas is really what's considered the main holiday season of the year. But this actually explains to us even how Passover, I believe this is the first holy day really, that the Lord is setting up, because He says He wants this day to be a memorial and to be remembered for Him passing over them in Egypt and really sparing their lives and preserving them. So He's really establishing this as a memorial day, and He says He wants them to pass it on to their children and explain to the children, when your children ask you, well, why are we doing this service, why are we celebrating, why are we doing this, explain to them what exactly this Passover actually meant. So like I said, this is the opportune time, because I think one of the lessons we can get from this is a lot of times we celebrate different holidays, we do different things which we consider a holiday because we've been taught holiday or we've been told it's a holiday, but we don't actually know any of the meaning behind why it is a holiday, or why is this day special at all. And a lot of things, especially myself, I don't particularly celebrate things if I don't understand the meaning of it, because you don't know what you're actually celebrating. Like, for instance, Halloween, for example. I don't encourage celebrating it with, of course, you children, and because I don't really understand the meaning of it, and nor have I looked into it any further, so I just don't celebrate it. But that's one of the lessons I believe we can get from this, because you see how the Lord is saying He wants them to remember and set this day up as a memorial, these days of Passover as a memorial. So even as we are in our holiday, what we call, or what is considered by much of society as holiday season between Thanksgiving and Christmas, really understand what it is that you're celebrating, why there is a season, why there is a holiday season, what is really the significance behind what you're doing, why do you buy gifts on Christmas for other people, why do you have turkey on Thanksgiving Day, why is there Easter eggs on Easter. Understand really the meaning behind, because behind every one of these days there is a particular meaning. But at least here with this Passover, we see that actually it was because the Lord was passing over their homes when He was visiting Egypt and really sparing their lives. So there was significance even in this day, and I think that's the lesson that we can get from even this chapter. One of the lessons, because there's a lot of stuff. Then you can look at the blood, and how the blood that they put on the doorpost, how that spared them, but that's another lesson even in itself. But the lesson I want to that really caught me first was just how we're in what is considered by many to be a holiday season, and how the Lord is actually showing why this was a holiday, and how He wants it to be remembered and to be passed on, and not just take things just for what everybody else tells you. Okay, well, you're supposed to celebrate Christmas because I always got gifts when I was a child. But really, sometimes you have to question things and really understand the true meaning. That way, you can really celebrate it as a real celebration. Because if you don't understand it, just like He was saying to, when your children ask you, you have to explain to them why it is actually, why this is Passover and why we're doing this feast and so forth. If you don't question things in your own life, then you just go about and you'll celebrate things without any particular purpose. And even as we learned yesterday, as the everything happens for a reason, and the Lord does things even in as we're reading throughout these chapters. Everything that the Lord does is for a particular reason and a purpose. So even in our lives, we need to do things with a reason and a purpose behind it. So we need to understand the different holy days or holidays that we celebrate, or that we think we're celebrating, or that we intend to celebrate. And that's one of the lessons that I got from this chapter I wanted to share with you. But like I said, there's really a lot more in this chapter. So as always, I do encourage you to read through the entire chapter for yourself and see what you got from it. And you can always email us and we'll add it to the blog. And that's it. So create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we will talk again tomorrow.